غازلتها فتبسمت فرمى الفؤاد بحبها.
This is another Noble News production. It is the second episode of the historiography of the 187 years old legendary Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque. In the last edition, we assessed the calamity that befell the legendary Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque, where sections of the historic Juma'at Mosque collapsed on the 11th of August 2023 during Asr prayers, claiming lives and injuring scores. Following expert counsel, the mosque was first sealed off and later demolished to pave way for the reconstruction of a more befitting Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque. In this episode, we will squarely face the historiography of the 187 years old legendary Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque. Don't go away, there is much more to come. In fact, this is just the beginning. However, we will take this episode by episode, segment by segment, step by step, critically and objectively. Come along. Mallam Abdulkarim Ibn Abbas Juma'at Mosque, an artifact of Zazzau's heritage. In an era of globalization, cultural heritage helps us to remember our cultural diversity and mutual respect for our ancestors. Our cultural heritage serves as a testament to our identity, history, and values. It connects us to our roots and provides us a foundation for future innovations. Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque was a cultural artifact, no doubt. A cultural artifact is anything that contains important information about the people and the culture of a society. Moved by the tears of the collapse and the loss of lives, should Mallam Ahmed Nuhu decide on the emotions of preserving the heritage or safeguarding the future lives of his people? Because cultural artifacts of this nature always arouse emotions, but whether the emotions are right and correct or only right but not correct is another thing altogether. A cultural heritage is something that gives the people a sense of belonging and a shared cultural heritage. It is how the people's identity and values are rooted within a history and heritage that has a shared sense of belonging to them. As you know, the Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque was 187 years old when it was demolished. There is no doubt the Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque was the most ancient mosque in Zazzau. It was a symbol of cultural heritage, of historical importance, and social identity to the people of Zazzau. Indeed, it was also one of the most renowned mosques in northern Nigeria, after the Gobarau Minaret and the Kano ancient mosques. Thus, many people believe it is a bigger loss for Zazzau than reconstructing the new one. While I agree that the people's emotional attachment to the old mosque demonstrated a genuine love and pride to protect their cultural heritage, however, what the people are yet to contend is that the new mosque, aside ensuring the safety of the worshippers, does not diminish the old mosque in any way, because cultural artifacts, whether ancient or new, have the same significance, if not more, because the new offer more room to accommodate more worshippers in a more modern facility of the highest technological processes, opening more economic development and social structure, among other benefits. Yet, I understand the old historical perspective can never be cast aside. It represented a recognition of the symbolic meaning that shaped the sense of pride and belonging of the people. It expresses and maintains values and traditions of the city and its historic heritage. Besides inputting technological and economic advancement, cultural heritage provides preservation, protection of the people's identity and pride, and reminds the people of their common history and progress. At this juncture, let me emphasize that there is no heritage without emotional sharing and clashing. There is always the involvement of divergent emotions and interests in every heritage. The significance of a heritage is too often and easily considered as being the result of a shared sense of connection with an item. But such feelings alone do not provide for the valuing of things and practices in everyday life. The same item can also incite feelings of dislike or rejection, or reflecting alternative histories and presents, and implying alternative visions of the future. This divergence does not necessarily decrease the quality or practices of the items of heritage, not even for those who feel negatively about it. The shared heritage does not require the sharing of the same emotions around it. And the Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque is not an exception. Don't go away, we have much more to come, and we will take them step by step, one by one, critically and objectively. Come along. Why the demolition sparked grief and anger among the people of Zazzau. One can understand why the demolition sparked grief and anger among the people of Zazzau. One can understand why many people, particularly the older generations, are enraged. Frantz Fanon explained this better when he stated that sometimes people hold a core belief that is very strong. When they are presented with evidence that works against that belief, the new evidence cannot be accepted. It will create a feeling that is extremely uncomfortable, called cognitive dissonance. And because it is so important to protect the core belief, they will rationalize, ignore, and even deny anything that does not fit in with the core belief. This is what generated the different core beliefs of the demolition of Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque by different groups in Zazzau. They must have been inflicted with what Fanon called cognitive dissonance. Fortunately for us, we will take solace in one of Fanon's most celebrated quotes that says, each generation must discover its mission, fulfill it, or betray it. This will be understood better when the new mosque is unveiled in the next episode. The 187 years old Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque. By 2023, the old Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque was 186 years when the mosque collapsed. It stood for almost 2 centuries. The mosque had immense historical and cultural significance for the people of Zazzau. The collapse of the mosque did not only claim lives, its subsequent demolition had also devastated the architectural heritage of Zazzau. The Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque had attained a historical prominence, largely due to its ancient architecture and sophisticated adobe buildings with their captivating facades embellished in mosaic of bright and intersected colors that resonate aesthetic sensitivities, which evokes a great sense of wonder. Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque was a testament of this architectural feat. The ancient mosque, built in 1837, was such an emblematic monument of global standard. The grandeur of the 197-year-old Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque was a masterpiece of an unparalleled magnificence building of its time. Arguably, Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque was one of the most renowned works of Mallam Minkaila's fascinating architectural design. Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque originally included a main worship hall and a Sharia court, both enclosed in a surrounding wall into which were embedded entry vestibules that doubled as ablution chambers.
غازلتها فتبسمت فرمى الفؤاد.
The interior of the mosque was a marvel of unmistakable splendor. The intricate lines neatly carved on the arcs and edges of big recessed columns, and also the arrangement of the columns strewn all over the mosque to form a massive colonnade. The interior of the mosque was preserved. If you were fortunate to have seen the inside of the mosque, you would have been mesmerized with the great architectural achievement of Hausaland. The Bakangizo, that is the rainbow of the vault, represents one of the most important features in the structural evolution in adobe architecture in West Africa.
غازلتها فتبسمت فرمى الفؤاد.
On the other hand, the exterior of the mosque underwent a complete redesign in the past. Part of the original mosque was even demolished and the remainder encased in a new cement shell, within which the arch and vault construction was preserved for many years. The remodeled exterior appearance had its backside extended to accommodate the growing number of worshippers. A wall encloses the entire mosque compound, creating a courtyard that surrounds the mosque. Within the wall were three main gates on the north, south, and west. Like all the major palaces in Sokoto Caliphate, this ancient mosque is located adjacent to the Emir's palace. The mosque was directly connected to the Emir's palace. A conduit between the mosque and the palace was created through a U-shaped corridor in the northeast corner of the mosque. From the court, the emir could proceed into the mosque unhindered through a designated walkway. The mosque was one of the few historic Hausa traditional religious buildings remaining in the entire length and breadth of northern Nigeria. The other two outstanding examples, the Great Mosque of Kano and the Mosque at Katsina, have either been demolished or completely redone. However, the Zazzau Mosque was built much later than either the Great Mosque at Kano or the Katsina Mosque. Even so, the Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque proved to have been strong and unique, to have endured and survived for 186 years, outliving 15 emirs of Zazzau. A number of researchers describe it as the noblest achievement of Nigeria's ecclesiastic architecture.
غازلتها فتبسمت فرمى الفؤاد بحبها يبغي وصال.
The legends of the iconic Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque. The legends of the Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque is threefold. 1. The legend surrounding the patron or benefactor of the mosque, Muhammadu Bello, the Sultan of Sokoto. 2. The legends revolving around the implementer, enabler, driving force, and prime mover of building the mosque, Mallam Abdulkarim ibn Abba, the third emir of Zazzau. 3. The legends attributed to the architectural designer and builder, Mallam Munkaila, also known as Babangwani. The legends revolving around Muhammadu Bello, the Sultan of Sokoto. The mosque was said to have been initiated by the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammadu Bello. Therefore, he recommended and advised the building of the Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque. Sultan Bello was also attributed to have spearheaded the funding of the mosque. He was equally said to have entrusted the construction of the mosque to Mallam Munkaila of Sokoto as its architect as well as the chief builder. Therefore, Mallam Munkaila, known as Babangwani, relocated to Zaria for the project. The legendary mosque was said to have been constructed with the Sultan's permission at a site near an ancient Habe shrine within the vicinity of the Zazzau Palace. At the completion of the mosque, Sultan Muhammad Bello was said to have donated a number of copies of the Holy Quran and a mimbar, the pulpit, from which the Imam delivers his sermon or Jum'at Khutbah during the Friday congregational prayers. The mimbar was specifically constructed from Kiria, that is Prosopis africana, also known as African mesquite, as well as the iron wood. The Kiria wood or iron wood is commonly known for its durability and hardness. The wood is exceptionally resistant to wear and tear. It also has a natural resistance to termite and decay, which extends its lifespan without any chemical treatment. This makes it valuable for both functional and decorative uses. Muhammad Bello's mimbar was a significant part of Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque architecture, providing a focal point for the worshippers to listen to the Imam's sermon. It must be stated here that this mimbar is still intact, outlasting the collapse and the demolition of Mallam Abdulkarim's Juma'at Mosque. All this could not be disputed. The contention is that after the completion of the mosque, it was said to have been duly inspected by Muhammad Bello just before his death in 1837. While the alleged inspection of the mosque by Sultan Muhammad Bello is a core belief by a section of the people of Zazzau, others believe that it is just a myth. I have spoken to both sides, and each side, in accordance to Fanon, they are in the delusion called cognitive dissonance. Muhammad Bello is known to have recorded all his itineraries. However, the closest he recorded to have ever came to Zazzau was Yandoto Abiningwari. To this group, Muhammad Bello had never been to Zaria, thus attributing the inspection of Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque to him is a fable, at best a myth. While the other insisted that every account concerning Sultan Muhammad Bello was true, that it was information passed to them from generations of ancestors and cannot be questioned or doubted. Whatever the case, this is one of the legends of Mallam Abdulkarim's Juma'at Mosque. That is supposed to make the mosque more honorific, making it one of the most prestigious relics of Zazzau. The legends revolving around the iconic Babangwani, the 19th century traditional architect and builder. The next is the legends of Babangwani. Babangwani was born Mallam Munkaila or Minkailu. He was also known as Muhammadu Durugu. The first legend of Muhammadu Durugu was being the acclaimed chief builder Sarkin Magini of his time, with the legend of being specifically and specially appointed to the title by none other but Sheikh Usman Danfodio, the Amirul Muminun, the founder of the Sokoto Caliphate. He was an influential 19th century Hausa architect and builder using adobe. His reputation, primarily due to his expertise in constructing buildings, continued to increase up to the time he acquired the appellation Babangwani, denoting the great expert or the great builder, generally ascribed to him. There was no doubt Babangwani possessed extraordinary talents. However, many people believe that Babangwani possessed clairvoyant powers. These, they believe, enable him to see and build correctly and perfectly at night. His major attribute and reputation, building at night. This must have been the reason many people still believe that an angel was always present whenever Babangwani was constructing his buildings that brought him fame and the attention of kings. This legend is responsible for his buildings always surprised and enthralled the people. Babangwani, the 19th century house architectural masterpieces, were known to have many arcs, pillars, and columns, which stretch all the way to the ground. He built mosques and palaces in Bauchi, Binningwari, Kano, Katsina, and Zaria. Historians believe that there was no designer and builder of adobe like him. Babangwani lived in an era considered by historians as the classical period of Hausa architecture. His legendary reputation was known throughout Hausa land. One can also add that his legendary became timeless because of the legend of his alleged sudden death from the same people who praised and feted him, added to his everlasting legend a matter in his craft and career. Probably his most prized and priceless structure he bequeathed to humanity in general and specifically to the people of Zazzau was the Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque, even though he also built the palace of the Emir of Zazzau. Upon completing the Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque, Babangwani left an imprint of his palm as his signature, a seal of guarantee. He proclaimed that the mosque will stand for 100 years without requiring major repair. And its first collapse that needed the major repairs of reconstruction of the collapsed section took place in 1965 after 128 years of Babangwani's 100 years prophecy. His formal assurance and promise of certainty established trust and reliability that guaranteed the people of Zazzau that the Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque was constructed to the highest standards of quality, completed in perfect condition, and guaranteed to be free from defect in materials and workmanship. Babangwani's seal of approval symbolized his authority, strong, lasting influence, and asserting his power, control, and dominance in his craft. Nothing probably fetched him as much fame as the Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque, of course, except his legendary matter, which was said to be in the hands of the Emir of Birnin-Gwari, also shrouded in mysteries, believed by many and many others disbelieved. Now, you can understand the emotions of the people of Zazzau for losing a masterpiece, a historical artifact, and a significant heritage bequeathed by none other than the legendary iconic Mallam Minkaila Muhammadu Durugu alias Babangwani. It is a heavy loss and indeed a great one. The legends revolving around Mallam Abdulkarim Ibn Abbas, the third Emir of Zazzau. The third legend is that of the implementer, enabler, the driving force and prime mover of building the mosque, Mallam Abdulkarim Ibn Abbas, the third Emir of Zazzau. The origin of the iconic Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque could be traced to the third Emir of Zazzau, Mallam Abdulkarim, because the mosque was built under him. Many misconstrue that out of the many achievements of Mallam Abdulkarim, as he is fondly remembered, the Juma'at Mosque orchestrated and built by Muhammadu Durugu, Babangwani is the most outstanding Zazzau artifact and named after him. Mallam Abdulkarim, the third Emir of Zazzau, reigned between the years 1835 and 1847. Because of his known and respected state of holiness, spiritual and pious lifestyle, his devotion to religious study and piety, Mallam Abdulkarim earned the appellation of Wali, saint. This attributed to one of the legends of the Mallam Abdulkarim's Juma'at Mosque. All those who venerated him, particularly his lineage of the Kasinal ruling house of Zazzau, despite the evidence on ground, do not want the narration of Mallam Musa's contribution in the building of the Mallam Abdulkarim's Juma'at Mosque. It is a known fact that Mallam Musa and Mallam Abbas, that is, Mallam Abdulkarim's father, were bosom friends, having entrusted Mallam Abdulkarim to Mallam Musa by Mallam Abbas. Mallam Abdulkarim Ibn Abbas, the third Emir of Zazzau, became Mallam Musa's protege as well as an acolyte. Therefore, Mallam Abdulkarim lived among the household of Mallam Musa throughout the reign of the first emir of Zazzau under the Fulani dynasty. This beautiful relationship further led to Mallam Abdulkarim Ibn Abbas, the third emir of Zazzau, being the son-in-law, that is, married to Mallam Musa's first daughter. These credentials presented evidence that Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque was one of the several bequests of Mallam Musa to Mallam Abdulkarim, as evidenced from the following.
Tun lokacin da an gamun cewa shi sarkin Zazzau Mallam Musa, Allah ji kanshi, yana da niyyar masallacin da ake na haɗe ya rushe ta ya dawo da ita nan kofar fada da ake. An gamu mun ji kamun tarihi.
Mallam Musa bayan ya ɗabbaka jihadi. A lokacin mahaifin Abdulkarim yana raye ya ce mishi ka zo mu je, sai ce saboda rashin lafiya da girma ga ɗana na za ka same shi mai biyayya ya zama hadiminka. To ka ga mutum ya yi maka biyayya yadda baka tsammani, to don ka ba shi ɗaya ya kuma zauna tare da kai ba laifi ba ne. Ƙarke ma kafin ya koma ga Allah akwai 'ya'yan shi manya da suke tare. Abdulkarim ke ji ne. Kaji ana cewa Abdulkarim ya gina masallaci, gaskiya ne. Lokacin da aka zo masallacin angon Juma yana kuma Shehu Usmanu ya hana a yi sallah a wurin, saboda bangare ɗaya ana sallah ne, bangare ɗaya ana wasu abubuwa daban. Ya ce ku bar shi kar ku rusa sai ya rushe da kanshi. A nan fuskar fada Mallam Musa ya shata wuri ana sallah, amma a gina masallaci ba a yi shi ba a gine sai lokacin Abdulkarim. Lokacin da Muhammadu Durugu ya yi hijira ya zo Zazzau, a lokacin aka ba shi wannan aiki, har aka ba shi anguwa ya zauna a nan ƙasan Zazzau.
As can be noted, it was even narrated that Mallam Musa made a sketch of the mosque delineating its boundaries on the ground where Mallam Abdulkarim later built the Juma'at Mosque. Whatever the truth of the matter, building a mosque within the vicinity of the palaces in northern Nigeria is an Islamic tradition, which the founder of the Fulani Jihad, the Amirul Muminun, Sheikh Usmanu Danfodio, laid down as concrete exemplary precedents and directives in regards to the constructions of mosques within the Sokoto Caliphate. Proving or disproving this assertion remains one of the legends of Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque. There is also a well-known legend about determining the Qibla, describing a dramatic, almost a paranormal supernatural interaction between Babangwani, the builder, and Emir Abdulkarim. During a quality check, Wali Mallam Abdulkarim inspected the accuracy of the mihrab, a prayer niche always at the center of the Qibla wall, which indicates the direction of the Kaaba, to ensure that Babangwani had precisely and rightly aligned the structural framework of the mihrab on the Qibla wall. Legend had it that during their interaction, Babangwani assured Emir Abdulkarim that he had accurately positioned the mosque Qibla to face the Kaaba. It was reported that the Emir placed his palm on Babangwani's head, and a miraculous vision of worshippers circumambulating the waf around the Kaaba at the Al-Masjid Al-Haram appeared before them, confirming that Babangwani had correctly aligned the Qibla of the Mallam Abdulkarim's Juma'at Mosque. This legend, with its striking and spiritual telegenic depiction of worshippers performing the waf at the Kaaba in the Al-Masjid Al-Haram, was intended to highlight the telegnosis of Wali Mallam Abdulkarim Ibn Abbas and the clairvoyant powers of Babangwani. Another legend revolving around Mallam Abdulkarim Ibn Abbas in regards to Mallam Abdulkarim's Juma'at Mosque is the tenacious attempts to justify and rationalize the inspection of Mallam Abdulkarim's Juma'at Mosque by Sultan Muhammadu Bello, because there are two views regarding the date in which the mosque was built. One has it that the building started a year following the installation of Mallam Abdulkarim as the Emir of Zazzau, and that should be in 1836. The second view suggested 1837 because the mosque was said to have been duly inspected by Muhammad Bello just before his death in 1837. However, the more considerable, tenacious attempt is made to justify the inspection of the mosque by the Sultan, the more the apparent illogical attempt to fuse the two dates into one. This is one of the major contention of the Mallam Abdulkarim Juma'at Mosque.
غازلتها فتبسم.
The next program will cover much more only on Noble News. You can't afford to miss it. This is where we draw the curtain for this program. We hope you enjoyed it. Please do endeavor to comment, share, and subscribe our YouTube channel. See you next time.
غازلتها فتبسمت فرمى الفؤاد بحبها.